Welcome back everybody to another fun, lighthearted video, just talking about video games and their mechanics and stuff like that. So what I've got here is a brainstormed list of 20 video game genres, cut it down from 33, and I have come up with one of my favorite features per genre. These features are not integral to the genres, they don't define the genres, not usually at least. Instead, these are things like little flourishes or garnishes, things that I like to see and appreciate in these various genres. And we're going to go through them in alphabetical order, starting with action adventure. I love the old school parkour movement in games like Prince of Persia. Nothing where you have skills and abilities to help you jump a little bit higher or leap across gaps a little bit further. No, this is just a very athletic protagonist, and he's able to scale walls, grab on ledges, swing himself across, use ropes, use chandeliers, whatever's in his path, and make a route out of it. Obviously, the environments and the puzzles are designed with this in mind, but it just feels a lot more natural in this game, again, because of that absence of skills that enhances athletic abilities. And you see a little bit of this in Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild, but no game did it quite like the Prince of Persia trilogy. Next up is the adventure genre. I love outfit upgrades, so think about old school Zelda games and Metroid Prime. In Metroid Prime, Samus got her suit upgraded and had this different color scheme. It came with new abilities or new strengths. Same thing with the old Zelda games when Link had a new color tunic. It usually brought defensive enhancements or new defensive abilities. Yes, that kind of carried on into the modern Zeldas, but I feel like, one, it's been taken so far with how many different outfits there are, and two, none of them are necessarily mandatory. Whereas in these older games, it was part of the main storyline, or at least something that you couldn't go back on. Next is the Battle Royale genre. And this is where it's like, okay, I am kind of talking about something that is genre defining, looting. But in my opinion, not every Battle Royale game needs or should have looting. I think the number one defining feature of Battle Royale is that you have this space that gradually closes in on you. And of course, the most popular games, Fortnite, PUBG, what's the futuristic kind of one? Apex Legends. Yeah, you spend about half your game looting and the other half running around and shooting. But think about something like the gun game from Counter-Strike. To me, that's a battle royale. Everybody spawns free-for-all at level 1 with a basic weapon, and you're trying to get to, let's just say, 25 kills first. And every time you get a couple of kills, your weapon upgrades. And so it's this constant race to get kills faster and to make use of those new weapons that you have. Another game that doesn't embrace looting, Fall Guys. Maybe you don't want to call that Battle Royale. Maybe to you it's just like an MMO platformer. Anyways, the point is I really like the looting. I love that aspect of running around and just scavenging for like 20 minutes. Just constantly upgrading your gear and finding new things and equipping yourself with whatever's in these different treasure chests around the map. CRPGs. Computer role-playing games. It's a funny genre acronym, I know, but let's just roll with it. These are these old school, usually isometric RPGs. Think of Fallout 1 or the game that I'm going to talk about here, Grim Dawn. And what do I love about them? Tech trees that overlap with their paths, or they allow dual classing. And so Grim Dawn, I mean, it's been a long time since I played it, but let's just say, for example, I've got a character and he's the Beastmaster class. And maybe I can summon some hawks, and those hawks dive bomb my enemies, they do bleeding damage. I can also summon some snakes. They spit on my enemies, they do poison damage. What I love about overlapping with different paths or dual classing, it gives me so much creative freedom, so many options to spec into a witch. And now the witch, I can use her ability, that's Hex. Hexing does more damage based on how many status afflictions enemies are affected by. So for example, since I already hit them with the hawks and the snakes, they're bleeding and they're poisoned, my Hex does so much damage. Or I could do something like combine Sniper and some melee class. You kind of get a little taste of this in the Final Fantasy Tactics games as well, but CRPGs are what I think of first when I think of all kinds of tech tree freedom. Deck battlers. Yes, there's so many of these now that I think they can be a genre of their own. I love thematic animations with the cards, like in Hearthstone or Yu-Gi-Oh! You place a card in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you set it face down. If it's a magic or a trap card, your enemy's not allowed to see what it is, and sure enough, it is animated face down. But when it is time to activate it, you have an animation showing the card flipping over. Just a small little detail, a visual detail that doesn't affect the gameplay whatsoever, but I love it. Number 6, fighting games. Another one that is purely cosmetic here. Backgrounds in the different stages. So Street Fighter, that is a game where I feel like they always have interesting things going on in the backgrounds. Capcom's good at that because they've got a lot of humor in their games. I didn't notice as much in something like Soul Calibur, and also in the early Smash Bros, there was a little bit less of that. Of course, the stages looked really cool, but Street Fighter, I think, is a game that really exemplifies having cool backgrounds and things to take note of. Number 7, FPS first-person shooters. Mines, claymores, proximity mines like in GoldenEye. The claymores I'm thinking of come from Call of Duty 4. Of course, not every first-person shooter has something like this, something where the intention is you camp out a little bit. It slows down the gameplay a little bit. But anytime there's a war game or GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, I loved being able to set these traps. That's what it comes down to, is I love games where you set traps. The Witcher 2, I love the fact that Geralt could make his own traps there, and I couldn't stand the fact that when they moved on to The Witcher 3, they got rid of that. It's like, why not? That was a really important part of his kit. Anyway, so when it appears in FPS games, I always try to incorporate these things into my builds. If I'm playing a war game, like one of the Sniper Elite games, I always try to bring some claymores into my loadout. Number 8, horror games. This one, I will admit, I don't know, it's kind of whatever, but supernatural and mystery. Things like what you see in World of Horror. There's all kinds of horror games. There's survival horror, there's zombie horror, there's just human-on-human horror, whatever you want to call that, drawn from real-life inspiration. The supernatural elements I really enjoy because they make you think a little bit more about the world. They provide that sense of mystery, and I feel like that sense of mystery, trying to use my head and wrap it around whatever's being presented to me, that helps me appreciate the genre, or some of the games in the genre, just a little bit more. Number 9, JRPGs. This was actually the seminal idea for this video. This was the first thing I thought of a week or two ago, and this is what I built the rest of the video around. So that is the steal ability that appears in games like Final Fantasy or Pokemon by using the move Thief. I wish this was present in more games. I wish it was made use of better in a lot more JRPGs. And sometimes you even get these rogue classes in different games, but they're not able to steal. To me, this has always been one of the highlights. I love the feeling of getting a new item for free. I mean, if you don't want to view it for free because you have to have somebody using the Thief job class, then sure, I get it. But to me, thieves are always good damage dealers. They're really quick. And even though it can be a little frustrating when they make it so that bosses have unique items that can only be stolen in one encounter, I think Final Fantasy IX did that. You take the bad with the good. To me, overall, the steal ability has been amazing in the Final Fantasy series, and it's always something that I enjoy using. Number 10, Metroidvanias. Color-coded gates. Yes, as silly as this sounds, because I can really only think of this coming from Metroid games, I love the color-coded gates. And really, when you think about it, it's not a very creative idea. I mean, sure, it works in the sci-fi setting. Oh, this gate has a different kind of digital lock. Oh, this gate has another kind of energy barrier covering it. And for this one, you use a missile. And for that one, you use your yellow energy. And for this one, you use your plasma beam. I get it. It works. Well, actually, I more than get it. I love it, because it is my example here. But in other games, it just wouldn't fly. And I see how so many other games are more creative with this implementation of gated areas. Pokemon, for example, cut, strength to move boulders and go up a mountain, surf, even the original Zelda, mentioning that again, how you had to get the raft to be able to cross the water. But for whatever reason, just something about the colors, I guess, in Metroidvanias and in Metroid games specifically, I like seeing them on these different gates. Moving on to number 11, MMORPGs, and actually kind of related to what I just talked about, I love the color conventions for different rarities. So, for those of you unaware, let's think of a different game that you can think of, because I got this from World of Warcraft. Looter shooter like Borderlands, and I'm sure all kinds of different games that just aren't coming to mind right now. The common items might have their rarity displayed in white for the text title, and an uncommon item, they might use green, and then a rare goes to blue. A mythical item might be in orange, and a legendary item in purple, or, I'm probably mixing up a few of them, but you get the idea. Just these color conventions for making it clear at a glance how rare that particular drop or piece of loot is. Number 12, platformers. I love coming across secret exits and being able to go on alternate paths on the world maps like you have in the Mario games. Now, the oldest games, they had secret exits as well, right? The very first game, think about that second level where you're underground, you go behind the wall, that is a secret exit, sure. But I love how they expanded this later on, Super Mario World and the DS New Super Mario Bros. Games, how a secret exit could take you on a different path on the overworld. And then they just kept on playing with this idea, and it's basically been an implementation of the series since. I can't think of very many other platformers that have something like this. The Donkey Kong games, they have alternate routes on the world map. Right now, I can't remember if they come from secret exits. And there's also... No, that's pretty much it. I was going to think of Super Meat Boy, but when you have the Dark World there, that's only unlocked by having a certain efficiency when you clear the level. It's like you have to have a certain time that you clear and whatever else their rules are. So yeah, platformers, secret exits like the ones found in the Mario games. Number 13, point and click. For me, it's all about the interactive backgrounds. Now, this sounds kind of funny because when you play a point and click game, isn't everything interactive in the background? No, not exactly. And I'm talking about the ones that don't add to discovering items or progressing the story. I mean, if you have a character on the screen, rather than clicking on them to be able to find out what's going on over here, you click on some random stuff in the background and it just moves for you. I'm going to show some footage from a casual kind of adventure game, a puzzle game of sorts, and I'll be showing you how I can just point and click all over different parts of the map and things just move as I click on them. I get to interact with the background. Number 14, the puzzle genre. One of my favorites. I love when there are hints. Now think about this. How many puzzle games have you actually played? Not your action puzzlers like Tetris, but your single screen puzzle games where you're actually trying to solve things. You're trying to come up with solutions to barred areas. Even something like a puzzle platformer like Box Boy. Sometimes when you're trying to get your 100% completion, you just don't know what maneuver you should employ to be able to get a little item. Can I get a hint on that? Are you going to make me look it up? Or maybe you just tell me, try moving right and then left. And that doesn't have to spell the whole thing out for you. It could just be a little helpful. It's actually surprising when you stop and think about it, how few puzzle games offer you hints. And then in the series that I can think of that does offer hints, the Professor Layton games, they kind of shame you for accessing the hints. So the way that you unlock hints in these games is you collect hint coins, and then you can spend those. Well, at the end of the game, or at any point displayed on your save game, you can see the number of hint coins you have. And so wouldn't it make sense then that 100% completion means retaining 100% of your found hint coins? Somebody who doesn't have 100% of the coins in their inventory obviously used hints. So to me, I view that as kind of shaming, and I always try to avoid using hints in the Layton games, even though they're there for you. I know I've got some mental issues, but we don't need to talk about those today. Number 15, racing games. I love power-ups. Yeah, plain and simple. You see these in some racing games, not others. Any kind of kart racer obviously has a power-up. What about something like a Need for Speed or anything related to that? No, you just got to be a better driver. You just have to make less mistakes than your opponent. That's fine. I like those racing games as well. I think they feel good. I think they have a lot of shortcuts and other things that they can provide to make the experience fun. The collisions in those games are usually really satisfying. But when it comes just a racer that I can probably get sucked into for hours upon hours, I need some power-ups. I like a little bit of RNG in my games, I'll admit it. Number 16, rhythm games. What is a favorite feature of mine here? Oh, I know, good music. Now, this might seem kind of ridiculous because, yeah, obviously you like good music in rhythm games, but again, kind of like hints in puzzle games, you would be amazed at how many rhythm games I think do not have good music. And I think this is one of the reasons why Rock Band and Guitar Hero did so well and are some of the most popular rhythm games, and why other things like, I'm sorry, but Rhythm Heaven are not among the top when it comes to rhythm games. Yeah, they've got this huge cult following, and you think, oh man, these must be so good because so many people recommend them. But then when you actually sit down and play them, A, either the rhythm gameplay is not all that fun, or B, the music is just kind of quirky more than it is actually objectively good. I mean, I do like the Rhythm Heaven games, don't jump down my throat for that, but they're not as fun as Guitar Hero, they're not as fun as Rock Band. Real-time strategy, or RTS games. This is one where I can only think of one game or series that did this, displaying the number of kills per unit, like they do in StarCraft. So to me, when I was a kid, this really helped me feel a little more attached to my characters. And that's usually not something that you care about in RTS. You've got this army that you can spawn from a barracks, you just turn in a bunch of minerals, and boom, there's your Marines. Go ahead and use them. You're probably going to lose half of them, or you're going to have to make more anyways. But when I saw that I could record the number of kills per unit, I actually ended up caring about it. And especially on my hero characters, Jim Raynor, Zeratul, all these different legends in these games, I wanted them to accumulate all these kills, and maybe I could even finish a mission where they had 25 or 50 or 100 kills. And then Blizzard went the extra mile with this. Again, it's purely cosmetics, purely for aesthetics. They upgrade the class of your character depending on the number of kills they have. Doesn't affect the stats, doesn't affect the damage output. It's just a superficial title. Number 18, sports games, character entrances and celebrations. Now, even to me, this is a bit of a funny one, but hear me out. I just like seeing what the developers added to kind of make the sport and make the spectacle a little more realistic. So even in something like an old school hockey game, you've got the camera starting out from the top-down view, and then it comes down to ice level. Or in all the Mario sports games that I've been playing this year, for example, in Super Mario Strikers, anytime somebody scores, they've got one of two celebrations that they could do. Your characters like Wario, they're a little more showboaty. Your characters like Peach, they're a little more graceful. So I always watch these in full at least once before I start skipping them. Number 19 in the survival genre, creative combinations. These are things like in some apocalyptic games or post-apocalyptic games when it comes to the crafting element. So I guess this could have been the crafting genre, but no, I like it in the context of survival games. I like being able to get a box of nails and a fire hydrant and combining them into something. Completely inadvisable in real life, by the way. Do not combine nails with something high pressure like that. But in a video game, it works out really well and you could have some very cool weapon results. One of the games that I always think of when this comes to mind is How to Survive. Now, you've never heard me talk about that game because I've never actually beaten it. I gotta go back to it at some point, but that was a game where you could pick up all kinds of stuff throughout the world, loot these different encampments, break apart pieces of metal, turn them into different things, you get the picture. And then you compare that to something like Resident Evil, and what are you doing exactly? You're taking a red herb and a green herb, and you're combining them, and now it can heal you fully. But like, what did you do? Did you make a poultice? Did you make some kind of a potion? What happened there exactly? Oh well, no one really needs to know. And finally, the last genre in this list, number 20, WRPGs, Western RPGs. I love stealth mechanics, like in Skyrim. Give me multipliers. Give me the ability to be multi-purpose with these stealth mechanics. I can go into homes. I can go behind people. I can pickpocket. I can rummage through their drawers. I sound like a kleptomaniac, but it is what it is. Whether you're using your bow or using a dagger, even just the visual icon when you're in stealth. Now they see you, now they don't. I've played newer RPGs and still, in my opinion, nothing has quite made stealth mechanics as satisfying as they are in Skyrim. And I know they're really janky, but that's part of the fun. Because the main draw is being able to do so much with them, not the fact that they're totally realistic. And that brings us to the end of the video. Some of the genres that I did not talk about: beat 'em up, hack and slash, idle genre, rail shooter, etc. You want to talk about any of those, knock yourselves out. I'd be really happy and have fun reading any of your favorite features from different genres, or if you want to go nuts, say 10 things about JRPGs, like, oh, I love the JRPGs where you could use status effects on bosses. Yeah, me too. Go ahead and write those down. And if you like this sort of content, you want to watch another video like it, My Gaming Delights. I'm going to post that in the description, so check that out too. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Please mention some of yours in the comments. Don't just watch the video if you can help it. Don't be shy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.